All right, let's talk about the cloud. It's one of the biggest buzzwords out there, right? You use it literally every single day. But what is it? I mean, really? Let's dig in and find out.
You know the phrase, "Oh, just save it to the cloud. Don't worry, it's backed up in the cloud." It sounds so effortless, almost magical, like our photos and files are just floating around up there. But where is there? Let me give you a spoiler. It is definitely not in the sky.
Okay, so if it's not up there with the actual clouds, where in the world is it? It's time to bring this whole idea down to earth, because the truth is, well, it's physical, and it's way more interesting than you might think.
So what is the cloud? Really, at its core, the whole concept is shockingly simple.
And that's it. That's the big secret. The cloud is just a fancy name for a huge network of super powerful computers, servers, hard drives, miles and miles of cables, all housed in these giant buildings all over the planet. You're just renting a tiny slice of them.
This is probably the most important thing to get. Every single time you upload a photo, stream a movie, or save a document, you're just using a computer that's owned by a company like Amazon or Google or Microsoft. It's not magic at all. It's just really, really big infrastructure.
So what are we renting these computers for? Well, it pretty much breaks down into three main things. First, storing our stuff, like your photos on Google Drive. Second, it runs the apps we use all day, every day, like Netflix or Zoom. And third, it provides raw computing power so that other companies don't have to go out and buy their own massive servers.
And this is where it gets really wild. This shows you just how physical the cloud is. Your data isn't just sitting in some generic server room. Nope. It might be in a Google data center in Finland that's literally cooled by seawater. Or it could have been part of Microsoft's crazy experiment to sink a data center to the bottom of the ocean. It's a real, physical, global network of buildings.
Okay, so now we know where the cloud is. The next big question is, how do we keep our stuff safe there? Because when it comes to security, it's not a one-way street. It's a shared responsibility.
The absolute best way to understand this is what I call the apartment analogy. Think about it. Your landlord is responsible for the whole building's security. The front door, maybe some cameras, the fire alarms. But you're responsible for locking your own apartment door. The cloud works the exact same way. Let's break this down. The cloud provider, think Amazon, Google, they secure the physical stuff you see here on the left. The actual hardware, the network, the power grid, all of that. That's their job. Your job, over here on the right, is to secure your actual data, to manage who gets access to it, and to make sure your settings are correct. Here's the crucial part. They secure the cloud, but you are responsible for what you do in the cloud.
And that brings us to what happens when that responsibility gets neglected. See, most of the huge data leaks you hear about are because of some genius hacker in a dark room. They're usually much, much simpler than that, and almost always accidental.
They happen because of a simple misconfiguration, just like this. Someone uploads a bunch of files and, whoops, accidentally sets the permission to public or world readable. They've just left their digital front door not just unlocked, but wide open for anyone to walk through. It's not malicious, it's just a very, very costly mistake.
And this is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. You've got developers who accidentally leave their digital keys in public code online, people giving everyone access to everything just to get something working quickly, or just forgetting to put a password on a database. These simple mistakes are how most massive data breaches get started.
So that's the scary part. But the good news is, protecting yourself is totally within your control. You just have to know which digital doors you need to check and lock. So here it is, your personal game plan. First, lock down your permissions. Only give people the absolute minimum access they need to do their job. Second, use encryption. Think of it as scrambling your data so no one can read it. Third, turn on multi-factor authentication. That little code from your phone, everywhere you possibly can. And finally, protect your API keys like they're the passwords they are.
Look, I want this to be practical. So here is one thing you can do right now, today. Go into your personal cloud storage, your Google Drive, your Dropbox, your iCloud, and just look at your sharing settings. See what files are shared and who they're shared with. You might actually be surprised by what you find.
So there you have it. The cloud isn't some abstract mystery. It's a massive, physical system that only really works if both sides do their part. You might never set foot in a data center, but the data you put there, that's your responsibility. You can't touch the server, but you can absolutely protect what's on it.
And now you know exactly how.